Hello, hello, hello. My name is Yoshinoda, and welcome back to another episode of Call of Duty Resurgence in Black Ops 6. And this is again the map, Area 99. And in a previous episode, I talked about how to suck at Call of Duty, which I have to continue because this is the next few games after that gameplay, just to show you how difficult it is in Call of Duty, despite any wins that I would upload on this channel, because like I said, as much as there might be a win, for every Warzone win, there are at least 10 losses that come before it. And sometimes it just happens within the first 5 minutes, and it sucks to have that. I'm not ashamed to admit that not every game is a success. That's what happens in Call of Duty. You got to ride these lows, and they do make the wins feel like you've earned it a lot more. But man, oh man, there are some nights where you play for a few hours and it's just not going down, you know. And they can sometimes feel like a waste of time, and you put into something and you just like feel defeated. And there are definitely times where I get very frustrated, especially. It's like this negative feedback loop where the more you lose, it just, bites into that negativity, and then you get frustrated at little things where you're just like, damn, why do I suck so much? And then that just drives further negativity to then be like, you're going to lose another game, and you just keep going. It's like you're at the blackjack table, and you feel like you have to double down to, get more money for what you lost, and you have to double down again to get more money from what you lost in the past. And it never works out. So at that point, you have to know when to call it quits, I think, and it's something that I sometimes would struggle to do so, even though you might be having a terrible gaming session, and it's like that sunken cost fallacy sometimes where you're just like, well, I played a few hours, it's bound to happen, we got to keep going, you got to keep going. And it's also interesting to play with a friend. It's the unwritten rule of you both kind of have to agree to stop playing, especially if the other person's always like, another one, let's go, another one, one more, like it's just a code. And it's kind of a meme, and it's funny to just keep going, pushing yourself beyond a limit, because the other person, they might necessarily be a little bit done with it, but they're also like, come on, one more. No, one more. Come on, we can do better. One more. And that drives you further. And I actually I like that. As much as it might be a little bit unhealthy and you waste another hour playing, it's kind of fun. And I think I would only ever do that because I'm with a friend, because I'm doing that with a mate. And it's because of that mate that, Warzone is fun in general. So it's part of like, I'm not, trying to be loyal just to the win. I'm also enjoying my time being with my friend despite the losses, and no matter what losses will occur. So had I been playing this game by myself, I'd be like, what am I doing with my life? And you can see right here, like within 5 minutes, I mean, what is it, 6 minutes Resurgence? That's a countdown. But within 5 minutes, everything's over. And this was also hard because it was just us two, and it's a quads Resurgence, and that's just like, I don't know what's going on with Call of Duty's matchmaking sometimes. We took it on, a challenge like, come on, we can do this, we're good. And then here's the results. So you clearly put at a huge disadvantage if you're just, duos and you're playing quads. But that's just a snippet of like how things can go wrong so quickly. And it feels like, did you have fun? Did you waste your time? But if you are playing with a friend, I think it's never really a waste of time, and you're enjoying it. And a lot of the times we'll just be like doing stuff in the background, talking about, random topics, shooting the shit, as they say, and talking absolute nonsense about any little topic, and you can hear, watching an Instagram reel and then sending it to it. That's kind of what we do. And I think, I don't know if that's good for concentration, but it does sometimes, I don't know, help pass the time in terms of, waiting before that next match. And thankfully, I think since Christmas, the loading times between matches and finding people has definitely decreased. And there's been an improvement in terms of the number of people and the quality and the ping, the connection that we've got. Because before that, there will be, times where you're just waiting and you see that searching ping go up from like 25 milliseconds to 49 to 150 to 200. And you're just like, what? Where is everybody? What is going on? And no one's playing the game. And then just like, it's frustrating in terms of you want to just open up the game, get in there, play a game quickly, get into the game mode right away, as soon as possible. And I think in general, as time has passed on, maybe that's just the thing with, gaming in general in terms of the new age of technology, where suddenly you're so much more worried about updates. And particularly with a game like Call of Duty, for whatever reason, there seems to be a ton more updates than in general, which just adds to the waiting time of you not actually playing the game. So not only are there less people playing the game for whatever reason, maybe they're just turned off by it, and hence the searching goes, longer. Then you got all these updates, and then I think it increases the friction between you playing with your friends, because your friends don't want to play updates. And I've had people like, I just don't want to get the Call of Duty because then like my whole PlayStation is gone. Like the storage space that's needed to play that game gets taken up and consumed by Call of Duty, and they just get completely turned off by it. And then sometimes you might organize to hang out with your friends that night, like, all right, Thursday night, we're doing Call of Duty. And you got to, if you don't know better and warn them to be like, make sure you're updated. They get home, they open it up, they turn it on, and it's like they hit with like a 30, 50, maybe 100 gig update. Worst case scenario. And they're just like, oh, I got to wait like 2 hours now. And then it's like, what are we doing here? Like, it's just like, you don't want that. And I think in some ways I miss the old Call of Duties because it was just so easy to just load it and get into it right quickly. But coming back to Resurgence 99, I spoke a little bit about being, tactical and in some tips, quote unquote, tips or tricks that work for the gameplay, work for the game mode that you're in. And where do you go in the map? And it kind of, to me, is kind of important, which areas have hotspots and which areas don't have hotspots. Now, this area we call Star Wars Land because it kind of looks like that Star Wars pod that's on Tatooine or something like that. It's got different colors and we just refer to it. It's always now nicknamed Star Wars Land. This area in particular is always death to me. I've always found it like there's just so many teams, the levels, the three-dimensional, like you got ground floor, first floor, second floor, third floor, roofs, bunkers to jumping from bunkers to bunkers. It just increases the level of difficulty. And if you don't have a good twitch factor, which I don't have a good twitch factor, which is your response time to seeing a person come randomly in your vision and then looking towards them and trying to shoot at them, you're just absolutely boned. You're absolutely screwed. And every time I go there, like there's some crazy genius dudes that just know how to shoot me exactly. They look at me and will swarm me in a second. And it's like I would try my best to kind of avoid that area in general. The only times we do go there is if it's completely bored and we are not seeing anybody. Well, let's go. We at the same time, you can't have it like you're not seeing anybody, not doing anything. You want to have some action. So we'll go there, and usually there might be someone at least there. But that is a dangerous area to me that I, for any newbie coming into this game, maybe you just started and you got this game at Christmas, stay away from that because God damn it, Lord help you if you risk that craziness, because I, for whatever reason, just cannot get it. So we try to adapt towards where people are, you know, based on what we're kind of feeling out. In the first few minutes, you can kind of assess are there a lot of different teams around you or not. And I think in this game, I was looking at Star Wars Land, and I was suspecting, okay, there seems to be a lot of individuals there, and because of that, this vicinity, this area near, I think it's called the Walmart or something like we call it, the shopping center, or the warehouse area, will likewise also have kind of some hotspots there. And this roof area is great if you can hold it down, but it's also so exposed, and there's just different kind of levels, like vantage points just looking towards it, that if you are not careful, again in this area, people will hunt you down, you will get sniped, you will get swarmed, and I am very cautious around that. Same likewise to this floating house to the right, we call it the floating house. It just seems, I guess, I don't know, because it's a house that's floating, it seems unique and fun. People like to go there and just hang out, and it's like just a great camping spot. So between like Star Wars Land, this warehouse, and the floating house, it's almost like a slightly precarious position. And so I think eventually I realized that, okay, there's just too many people right now in this game, and I'm gonna game mode, and like my teammates, like you also suss out how, you know, engaged are your teammates, are they coming under fire, how are they doing, are they terrible teammates, whatnot. Yeah, I think I just decided, like, look, I need to go get safe, because I'm dying, my teammates are dying, and sometimes you got to be that one person from your team that just is kind of like the super cautious, doesn't want to engage in battles because maybe they're not having a good game as well, or they're just, seeing that they're in a very dangerous position. I'm going to hang back in case things go wrong, and I'm going to be the last one left, bring my team back, get us to a safe spot so that we can kind of reset. And sometimes I've noticed that I like doing that, as much as it's a little bit, a cautious, how do I politically correctly say, like, without disparaging myself as a terrible scaredy cat player, but I'm just like, because my mates will roast me, just like, don't be so scared, don't be weak, just go do something, go out and do something, stop hanging back and being so scared, it's just a game. And they just rip into me. So I'm like, okay, well, I got to balance out how conservative I am versus how aggressive I need to be, because at the same time, you don't want to just be hanging them back and not doing anything just because you want to bring back your teammates who are really doing everything for you and just carrying and just also having fun. Like, it's not fun to do that as much as sometimes I feel like it's a nice thing and just, helpful. So it really depends on the gameplay, on the game, how I'm feeling it, the mode and vibe. Because sometimes I do enjoy just feeling useful at being that sole survivor, and I'm in a good spot that I can bring everyone back to help them, and in terms of just allowing them to continue playing the game, help us as a team and win the overall objective. And especially if I'm having just a terrible gaming night, I might swing a little bit more towards the conservative side, because I know for whatever reason I'm just not feeling it. But then, yeah, next game or two, if if I swing too far to the left, in terms of, being conservative, then I'll go way too much to the right, and I'll just be like so aggressive. And I don't mean that in any political connotation, I just mean back and forth in terms of where am I at the spectrum between of conservative and aggressiveness, because sometimes you just need to, get used to embracing gunfights in this game and embracing that conflict and challenge of like getting, a one-on-one situation or you versus a team and getting better at shooting them. Like, it sounds ridiculous, but through practice and getting more combat fights, more conflicts, more engagement through gunfight, you get better as a player. And I think I've started to notice that, I can be a little bit more on get a roll going, like a kill streak, like a 3 kill streak or a 2 kill streak, I get the first guy down, I feel more confident. I start trying to, practice where I'm aiming as well in terms of, going for that upper body shot and the headshots. Good, eye tracking. The hard part for me is sometimes being able to track them with my gun, like moving left and right. And I think the early stages, and I still do have it, like having some aim assist is super, super helpful and important towards that. So I think things like that, like just, I know that if I engage more gunfights, I will eventually be a better Call of Duty player. And compared to, I think, maybe like a year or two ago, even like maybe a few months when this game came out, I've noticed things have changed in terms of my confidence to engage in combat and, the skill set that I have that I can bring to it. There are still things that I like, am doing wrong. Like maybe I play the objective too much. Perhaps sometimes I'm too conservative and I shouldn't, I should be more supporting my teammates because you have strength in numbers. But, in general, I feel like there are level improvements. And I think one of the biggest things lately has been getting so much more proficient in sniping because of the, maybe I feel like my tracking with my aim, if I'm using a submachine gun one-on-one, isn't as good all the time versus a sniper where I can just take a little bit more time to be a bit more precise. And I find that, that steady aim to be super helpful in going for that headshot. To me is like always an easier way to down people, and it feels so rewarding just to be, playing that kind of role of like, I'm going to hang back, snipe them, give a broader layout of the area, and I can kind of use my vision while the other teammates, who's maybe a little bit more better in a closer situation one-on-one, to go in and swarm while I can support them from afar. And I've kind of enjoyed a little bit of that balance. Now, you can see here, this is where Star Wars Land begins to just be nuts. And this team in particular, they just, the way they were moving, the way that like the omni movement, I guess that, the jumping, the dashing, I can tell like not only are they good at shooting, but their movement is absolutely crazy. It's so hard to pin down some players. And once they're like dashing and swiping around you like that, it's like, it's so much more difficult for me to get them compared to like any other previous Call of Duty. And I'm just like, I feel like completely out of my depth. And when you're in Star Wars Land, you really like, you're in such heightened sense of anxiety in terms of like who's coming and all that. And again, it is fun, but this to me is also super stressful. And you can just see like these guys are just roaming and swarming, jumping up and down, looking for every level, trying to get people. And it's like, I just hate that. I hate that so much. And this is like, again, thankfully our teammate's still alive. But by this point, like I would have spawned completely on the other side. I would have spawned like towards Nuketown, but now the game mode is coming to the end and it's the top 3. The circle's pretty much closed in. You're put in just an impossible situation. I was saying to my teammate, maybe we can jump these 2 guys. But by the time you come down to it, you look outnumbered. I don't know why it says 5 attackers. It's just 2 guys just shooting you. And it's just like, what do you do at this point? You might as well, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't situation. And Star Wars Land, Final Circle, that's tough. That's tough. It's been barely in that second place right there. I think maybe once we've won, maybe once or twice we've won here. And this is just a situation where, sometimes the cards are against you. And I think I had some decent plays with the, precisions, some nice ones with the proxies and the spring mines. But man, oh man, Star Wars Land is forever going to be a curse. And I think anytime that you win that area in the final circle, you pat yourself on the back because that is a dangerous hotspot. But look, there you go. Not every game is a win. And I think the biggest lessons is trying to figure out your strengths, playing to them, and slowly trying to improve over time. And and balancing your your skill set depending on how you go throughout the game. But yeah, there you go. Let me know, do you also struggle with Star Wars Land in particular? I would love to know, because I hope I'm not the only one. That's it for me, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.